I rise to second the motion that this House adopt the report on the Senate Sessional Committee on County Public Accounts and Investment on the inquiry into the financial operations of Nakuru County Executive Office for the financial year 2013-2014, which runs from 1st of July 2013 to the 30th of June 2014. Madam Speaker, from the onset, I'd like to say that this committee is really doing a very, very good job in trying to expedite the adoption of these reports. Madam Speaker, from the onset, I would say when we looked at our legacy report, the previous House had not done a lot of work. And Madam Speaker, from the amount of time that we put into these reports, I want to concur with my good brother and Senator and the chair of this committee, Senator Moses Kajwang, that any future subsequent report that we submit, particularly for the year 2013-2014, we will not be wasting our time in submitting individual reports. Because if we continue with that trend, Madam Speaker, then by the time we are out of this House, in 5 years' time, Madam Speaker, we would not have had an opportunity to actually even consider the reports of the Auditor General on the time when we as senators are serving this House. Madam Speaker, a few things we noted during the inquiry into this matter is that the defunct county councils, the amount of liability that the new county government inherited was quite vast. And most of them had not been verified. I know that the Transitioning Authority had really tried to do the work, but we noted that when the Transitioning Authority was now being abolished is when they were trying to pull up their socks to be able to expedite the work. And when you look at this issue of assets and liability, Madam Speaker, it cut across all counties. It is very, very difficult for even the county of Narok, for instance, and in particularly for us to be able to know how much assets and liability are there. This was the same in Nakuru County. But I'm happy that this is a process which is ongoing, Madam Speaker, and that the new committee which has been tasked, or rather the IGRTC, has really engaged the county governments and also the county assemblies in ensuring that they expedite the process of verifying these assets and liabilities. Madam Speaker, one of the things that we noted in terms of the Auditor General report is that there were issues that really ought to be dealt with by the county assemblies. And we discussed and deliberated heavily on the kind of audits that this House should be looking at. You know, we should not be looking at issues of reconciliation, Madam Speaker. This is something that takes a lot of time. Although it is actually in the Act, in the PFM Act, that all county governments or rather and assemblies have got to carry out their monthly reconciliation and send the report to the auditor, it is something that with a little bit induction, the county assemblies can be able to take care of that. I think what this House ought to be looking at, and particularly our committee, is to try and look at the value for money audits. Madam Speaker, as I support this motion, I want to reiterate that the committee currently as constituted will ensure that this year we table all reports, particularly of 2013-2014. In fact, within 3 weeks, we will not be wasting our time. 2014-2015, we'll also be able to submit reports. We were deliberating on whether to submit regional reports, because these auditors are given about 6 or 7 counties to go through. And sometimes when we are going through all these issues, you see that there are issues that really we should not be wasting time. Some of the issues that were very clear in the Nakuru report had to do with the issue of internal audit committees. These are things that cut across all other counties. Some of these things, in fact, I was even suggesting to our chair that all we need to do is to write to our counterparts at the county assemblies and ensure that they give us an update of whether those internal audit committees have been established by the county governments. Because once they do that, then it will put us in a position where we can actually now tell Kenyans that the amount of money that we sent to the county governments, X amount were used prudently, X amount was misappropriated. And the people on the ground will be able to really come out and tell us, you're right, we are here. But now, when we are going back into this issue of postmortem reports, looking at things which happened in 2013, 2014, and we're in 2018, seriously, it's a complete waste of time. But the reality of things is that that is the way the law is. That is the work we're supposed to be doing. But of course, bringing in some creativity in ensuring that governors are accountable to the money which is sent to them will really help reduce on the wastage of public funds. Madam Speaker, as I wind up, I would like to reiterate on the one issue that the chairman spoke about, on the penalties which were charged to these county governments, particularly Nakuru County government, by KRA. You know, this is something that should not be happening. The national government and the county government, or these agencies, should really be working together. But when you have pending bills, when earlier on we were talking about approving a schedule for that money to be sent, it is imperative, and I hope that my dear sister, the Senator of Nakuru, as we are discussing this, she's taking notes so that she can be able to follow up and say, all right, we did approve the schedule. We are discussing about the audit report of the previous year. There were penalties by KRA. Why did these penalties come in place? Was the money there? If the government, for instance, the national government, deducted about 1.4 billion, and the explanation was that this is money which was used to pay for salaries for staff who had been forwarded, then it is important for us to know whether, when they are deducting that, they also remitted the money to the KRA, so that that burden is not sent to the county government of Nakuru. So, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I beg to second.